guys, I'm Alan Zirkle with Mr. Z's Music Lessons, and today we're going to be learning the lead guitar part to The Passion by Hillsong Worship. And there's a link to the tab in the description of the video, and also there's a link to a cover of me playing through the whole song if you guys want to check any of those things out. So let's jump into the lesson. So we're going to start off with the intro, and for this intro we'll just be playing a riff through the whole thing. And we'll start out on the 11th fret I use my second finger, and so I'll play the 11th fret, and I'm going to palm mute this so it starts out kind of quietly. So we'll go 11, then 12 on the G, then 11 on the G, then I'll play the 10th fret of the E string, the high E, and then I'll play the 10th fret of the B string twice, and then the 12th fret of the G string. So a little bit faster sounds like. All you have to do is speed that up, and you'll play it like 4 times, kind of swelling in, and then you'll play it 8 times pretty loudly. So I'll just play through that intro once so you can hear it. And I'm going to go ahead and start out with some drive-ons. On the 11th fret of the G string for that very last note. And that's it for the intro. And for verse 1, there's not a whole lot going on, but I'll show you some chords that you can strum if you want to, just to fill in the space a little bit. So we'll start on a G chord, which I'll put my second finger on the third fret of the E string, and then my third finger on the 3rd fret of the B string. And I'm going to lay my second finger over the A string just to where it mutes that A string. Okay? And I'll strum from the E string all the way down to the B string. And we'll play D, and for our D chord, I'll put my first finger on the 2nd fret of the G string, and then my third finger on the 3rd fret of the B string. Okay, then I'm going to go to B minor, which I'm going to put my first finger on the 2nd fret of the A string, and my second finger on the 2nd fret of the G string, and then leaving the third finger where it was on the 3rd fret of the B string. And back to G. We'll put our first finger on the 2nd fret of the A string, second finger on the 2nd fret of the D string, and the third finger on the 3rd fret of the B string, and we'll strum from the E string down to the B string. We'll have back to B minor, and then lastly G. So I'll go through this verse 1 time for you. That's it for verse 1. Then for the chorus, we're going to pick through some chords. We'll start off on D, so I'll have the open D string, my first finger on the 2nd fret of the G string, and my third finger on the 3rd fret of the B string. So that chord is. Then I'll go to an A chord, so I'll play open A, then I'll put my first finger on the 2nd fret of the G string, second finger on the 2nd fret of the B string, and I'll play the G string and the B string. So that A chord is. Then I'll go to a G chord, so I'll put my second finger on the 3rd fret of the low E string, and my third finger on the 3rd fret of the B string, and I'll pick the E string, G string, and B string. And then we're back to D again. Then on B minor, we'll put our first finger on the 2nd fret of the A string, and then second finger on the 2nd fret of the G string, and third finger on the 3rd fret of the B string. And we'll pick the A string, G string, and B string. Then back to G again, back to D, and back to A. Alright, so we're going to basically play those chord shapes through this. So I'll just go through the whole chorus once, and that way you can see how that all fits together. So starting on D, which I'm just laying my first finger across the second fret of the D, G, and B strings, and I'm strumming from the A string down to the B string. Then I go back to D again. So that last part is D, A, D. And that's it for the chorus. Then for verse 2, we're going to play the same riff that we did for the intro, so I won't go over that too much. We're just going to skip past that. But after we play that riff, I think it plays it 12 times, and then we're going to do this fill, and this part's probably the hardest part of the song. It may take some practice to get. But we'll start on the 10th fret of the E string, and you can use a little bit of drive here if you want. And this is kind of palm muted, so we'll play the 10th fret of the E string with the first finger, and then the 14th fret of the B string, and the 12th fret of the B string, 10th fret of the B string, 12th fret of the B string, 10th fret of the B string, and we're going to go down to the G string, 12th fret, 11th fret of the G string, 12th fret, 11th fret, 9th fret, then we'll go to the D string, 12th fret, 9th fret, G string, 11th fret, still on the G string, 9th fret, still on the G string, then we'll go to the 12th fret on the D string, and then we're going to go back and forth between the 11th fret of the G string and the 12th fret of the D string real quickly, like. Okay, so this riff, I'm going to play it up to tempo one time. It goes by pretty quick. And that's what that sounds like, and that's all you need for verse 2. Then for the next chorus, we're going to play some chord shapes higher up on the neck, and you can use drive here. It's pretty loud at this point. So I'll put my third finger on the 12th fret of the G string, then my second finger on the 11th fret of the G string, and then my first finger, I just have it laying across the B and E string. You don't necessarily have to bar that across if you don't want, but for me it just feels more comfortable. And then we'll play the 10th fret of the E string. So that D chord is. For our A chord, we're going to play like a D shape, just on the 9th fret of the G string, 10th fret of the B string, and 9th fret of the E string. And for that we'll play. Then for our G chord, we'll have the 12th fret of the D string with the third finger, 12th fret of the G string with the fourth finger, and then the first finger can play the 10th fret of the B string. And we'll pick the G string, D string, and E string. And then we're back to our D chord that we started with. Alright, and then for B minor, we'll just stay on the same shape. And then for our G chord, we're going to do this hammer-on, so I'll go over this real quickly, and then I'll just go through the whole chorus. So for this, we're going to hammer on from the 11th fret with the second finger, and then hammer on to the fourth finger on the 12th fret of the G string. So we have, and then we'll pick the D string, and we'll pick the E string. Alright, so I'm just going to go ahead and play through this whole chorus once. With you, that last A to D. We'll play the 10th fret of the B string and the 9th fret of the G string. We'll do that twice. We'll go, and I'm going to go down to a D chord. And that's it for the chorus. And the last chorus, you can play the same thing there as well. Then for the bridge, we're going to start out on a D suspended chord. So we'll play like a normal D chord, and then I'm going to put my fourth finger on the third fret of the E string, which turns that into a D suspended. And so I'll pick the D string, then I'll pick the G, B, and E strings 4 times, and back to open D, and then I'll play a regular D chord. Then I'm going to go to an A suspended chord, which is the open A string, and then first finger on the second fret of the D string, second finger on the second fret of the G string, and the third finger on the third fret of the B string. And I'll strum that 4 times, just the D, G, and B strings. Back to open A. Then I'm going to go to an A chord, so I just move that third finger down. Then I'm going to go to a B minor chord, so I'm going to put the second finger on the second fret of the A string. And then I'm going to go ahead and put my pinky on the 4th fret of the D or B string, and we'll pick the A string, and we'll pick the D, G, and B strings 4 times. Back to the A string, and then I just take the pinky off and strum the D, G, and B strings. Then I'm going to go to a G chord, and all I'm going to use for this is my second finger on the 3rd fret of the E string. I'll pick that by itself. Then I'll strum the D, G, and B strings 4 times. Back to the 3rd fret of the E. And then I'm going to put my first finger on the 2nd fret of the G string and strum the D and G strings together. Alright, I'll go ahead and play this for you. You'll do the same progression 4 times. We're going to stay on that very last chord that we played. So we'll have the 3rd finger here, and then the 2nd finger on the 2nd fret of the G string, and then the 3rd finger on the 3rd fret of the B string. And this would be a G add 9 chord, and we're going to strum this basically until beat 4. So we'll go, and we'll strum 8th notes. So we'll go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then that leads you back into the chorus again. The very last chorus, it tags the last line, so I just wanted to go over what to play on that part. So we'll start on a B minor chord, which is the same way we played this earlier in the chorus. And you can see the tab there on the screen. So we'll have... And then here's where it changes on this D chord, well, D shape anyway. So we'll play the 10th fret of the E string, and then the 10th fret of the B string, and the 9th fret of the E string, and the 10th fret of the B string. So you're going from like an A suspended to an A. Then we'll go back to a B minor. Just like we did. So let me play the last 2 lines of that chorus again. That's it for this lesson. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know if you have any questions or anything in the comments. This song has a really cool lead guitar part, so I thought it'd be a good one to do. Let me know if you guys need anything, and I'll see you in the next one.